Welcome to Fully In It, a show for visionaries, leaders, entrepreneurs, and those who know they are called to so much more. Join me, Kate Saffel, a mindset expert, multiple six-figure business coach, and a woman on a quest to show that anything you desire to create in your life is truly possible. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in all areas of your life. Join me for regular inspiration and encouragement to follow your intuition, lead with integrity and heart, and live boldly every damn day. Hey, my love. Welcome to episode 98 of the Fully In It podcast. Today's episode is inspired by some conversations that I've been having with clients and women in my community around what it takes to actually change your life. I consider myself as someone who facilitates change in the lives of other people, as well as within myself, because so much of what I have created in my own life is what inspires the work that I do in the world. But I know that sometimes change can feel incredibly scary. It can feel intimidating. It can feel like it's not possible for you. And one of the things that I hear most commonly is, I don't know if I am ready. I don't know if I'm actually ready to change things, whether it's because there is a fear of change, or maybe it's because you feel like you don't have what you need to create change, whether that is time, it's having the energy or the capacity, it's having the financial ability to create the change that you desire, or maybe it has to do with the people around you, the situation, the environment, and you're looking around at your life and you're thinking, well, this is never going to change. How can I change if what I see around me won't ever change? What is the point? And I want you to be willing to suspend all disbelief and doubt as you listen to this episode. Would you be willing to go fully in it with me? So let's talk about two kinds of change. We are either trying to change from a fear state, right? Like there is something that you are scared of. Maybe there has been a diagnosis. Maybe you are seeing what's happening in the world and you're hearing the word recession and you're panicking and you are in fear. This will create a very specific kind of change for you if you move from fear. The alternative is creating change from love. Love for what it is that you desire. Love for the person that you are becoming. Love for your family. Love for the people that you serve. Moving from love is an entirely different way of being. And it creates a different set of outcomes. Now, I was talking to a client recently about marketing, because there's so many parallels here with marketing. And as a business coach as well, I teach a different approach to marketing than what you commonly see online. Don't worry, this is going somewhere. It's going to tie back in. So in the online marketing world, the typical traditional way of marketing is getting very clear on someone's pain points. What are they suffering from? What is that thing that is keeping them up at night, that they wake up in the morning stressing about, and market to that. Point it out. Make them really feel those emotions of how awful it feels to be in that kind of pain, and then swoop in and give them the solution. Here you go. I'm going to save the day for you. Come buy my product, $99. Okay, right? Have you seen that online? I know that you have. You've probably experienced it. Maybe you've been on the receiving end of that kind of marketing. How did that actually feel for you? Did you enjoy that process? And did it create the change that you thought that it would? Did it actually change your life? Did it really give you the solution that you needed, or did it create other outcomes from it? The way that I choose to market because we always have a choice. And this is what I teach my clients is I market to desire. I market to the version of you that I know you are capable of becoming. And I do this because I believe in possibility, and I believe that humans are actually more motivated to create change in their lives if they deeply believe that it is possible and available for them. And quite frankly, I don't want to play in the field of pain and suffering and misery and resentment and anger. When I very first started coaching, I did the traditional way of marketing, and I very much attracted clients who didn't want to change, who weren't motivated by love and possibility, but were trying to run away from their pain. And whenever we try to run away from what we don't like, we're focusing our energy on the thing that we don't desire, and consequently, you create more of it. You do. And that can be a really hard thing to realize. Where you focus your attention is where your energy goes. Where your energy goes, you just create, you manifest more of that. So that is why I believe in creating change from love and from possibility, from gratitude, from the desire for a new life, a new way of being. So that is the energy from which we are going to be talking in this episode. Now, when we think about change, what I will often hear is that, and maybe you have seen this either in yourself or in other people, we think that things outside of us must change before we can change. Yeah? Like, if only my husband would do this, then I can change. If only I had more time, then I would be successful in my business. If only we had more money, we could make different choices. The thing is that when you wait for the externals to change, you will wait a lifetime, because circumstances, environments, people are what they are. And we simply must have acceptance for them. And if it is no longer aligned with you and how you want to do life, you get to be the one to change, and you get to be the one to choose differently. But staying stuck in emotions of frustration and anger and resentment will never create positive, lasting change for you. So if you tend to be in that kind of an emotional state quite frequently, you find that you tend to judge others and feel frustrated with others. You wake up and you move through your day in a state of resistance. I don't like this. I don't want this. This should be different. This should be better. And you aren't actively changing yourself, this will be the same emotional state you're going to be in a year from now. Did you hear my dog shake? He just woke up. This is the state you're going to be in a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, unless today you decide you're going to do something differently. Okay, so let's talk about how you're going to actually do this. The dog is very restless today. He is just like hopping all over the place. So if you want to create lasting change, it has to happen internally within you. You have to decide you are the person who is capable of it. You have to decide that you are willing to do it. You are open to new possibilities and the fears that you may experience creating the change, because change can be uncomfortable, that you're willing to experience them. It's not going to stop you. It's not going to slow you down. In the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, which I love that book so much. If you have not read it, stick it on your list today, especially if you tend to be a person who wants to change and, makes the decision, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to work out every day, whatever the thing is that you think you're going to do. And then you start, and then you start to sabotage, and you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. This meal doesn't really count. And you start to kind of make those excuses, or maybe every time you go to change, you get sick. That's an interesting one, right? For some reason, your body decides that you need to be ill. Pay attention to those things. And in The Big Leap, he talks about how when we jump into our zone of genius, it is this beautiful place where all of that possibility for you lies, but you have to be willing to go through this sea of change, and you have to be willing to feel the discomfort. And it takes first having awareness of what those things are for you. But The Big Leap is so worth it. Not just the book. I mean like actually choosing to make a big leap in your life. That thing that you've been saying to yourself, oh, I want to do this. I need to do this. This reminds me, actually, side note. So my middle daughter is in circus school, which is super cool. We live in the coolest place with everything that we love. And I was watching her, and I was watching the trapeze class, which I'm like, okay, note to self, we're going to do the trapeze class soon. And I started thinking about this dream that I've had for like 5 years now, where Kirk and I have talked about training for competitive dance, like ballroom, but we have kind of an idea of the kind of style of dance that we want to do, something a little bit more upbeat. And right, this would be a commitment. It would be physically uncomfortable for our bodies because I just turned 38. He's going to turn 38 in February, right? Like we're starting to get older. We're still pretty healthy, but like it would be physically uncomfortable for us. There's going to be the time discomfort of training how many days a week to make this happen. There's going to be the mental challenge, like all the thoughts that will probably come up, like, oh, we're too old for this. We didn't start soon enough. We're not as experienced as other people. Oh, this, like the actual training costs too much money to have the trainers that we desire, whatever. There will be like a bunch of BS mental drama that will surely come up. But on the other side of all of that, what us in the coaching world like to call the sea of misery, what's on the other side of that is the accomplishment and the becoming of who we desire to be. And so I know, and what I want to teach you now is how you actually create that change. So when you want to create change and you're beginning internally, there's 3 pieces to this. You have to think differently, you have to feel differently, and you have to choose different actions to catalyze a different result. Let's talk about this. What does it mean to actually think differently? Every day you have the same thoughts. It's not original. If you actually listen to the chatter in your brain, you're going to realize that you're thinking the same things you thought yesterday, that you thought 3 months ago, that you thought 3 years ago. Our brains are not very creative. And as you've probably heard me say on this podcast before, it's said that about 95% of your thinking, your reactions, your conscious ways of being are set in stone by the age of 35. That means that you are running on autopilot. It's like when you drive somewhere and you're like, how the hell did I get here? I don't even remember. This is how we tend to move through our days, like little sleepwalkers. And if you want to have a different result, you have to become aware of the kind of thoughts that you're having and choose different ones that empower you, ones that change the way that you see yourself and you believe about yourself, because you cannot create change from your current majority thoughts. And when you begin to think differently, it breaks the connection between your thoughts and your emotions, because with every thought comes a corresponding emotion. So if I think, oh, I just, so-and-so is never going to change, like they're always going to be that way, and I feel so frustrated with them, that thought and that feeling are linked together. When you begin to think new thoughts, you're going to invite new feelings. And for me, I found when we made the leap to traveling full-time, I began to really intentionally practice feeling different emotions. So I really played in the field of gratitude and love and service. And I would sit in these emotions on a daily basis on purpose. Because the truth is that you're not used to feeling grateful on a daily basis. You're not used to feeling overwhelming love on a daily basis. Most people have a very negative emotional state. So we think different thoughts, we start practicing feeling different emotions. You learn how to feel those in your body. Like really, truly anchor in new emotional states. It will start to shift your physical experience. And then from new thoughts and new feelings, you're going to take different actions. The actions that you're thinking about taking now from your current default self aren't creating the result you want. And how do we know that? You're not where you want to be. So if you want to be somewhere different, you have to begin acting as if you are already that person. What would that person be doing today if they knew 100% that that result was inevitable for them? You would be bolder. You would be braver. You would do the thing that you have been so scared to do because you would trust finally that it was going to happen for you. What we do is we actually stop our own success ahead of time because we decide that we will not be successful at it. We give more credence to our fears, and especially our fear of failure, than the possibility of who we can become. The thing is that you create your reality, you create your experience of the world, and you are deciding to create a world where you fail, where it's the same old, same old, same old. This is why you will see people who wax poetic about high school because they never moved past it, because they are so far in that and wishing they were back in the past that they forget that they're the ones who can create the future. That maybe the experiences that they loved about high school or maybe even college, I hear that one a lot too, those emotions that were under that were freedom, were self-expression, were confidence, right? Possibility. And as we get older, we start to feel like the door kind of shuts on some of those emotions. And so the brain says, let me go back to where it felt that. Let me go back in time. You cannot go back in time, but you can create the future you desire. So decide today, how do you want to think? How do you want to feel? And what would be the actions that you would take from this new place? This is a big part of the work that I do with my clients, is I help you to rewire your brain so that you can create whatever change you want, because all of it is possible for you. So let's talk about some of my favorite tools that I've used in the past to create all of this change. And we're just going to kind of briefly go into these because I think each of these could be its own episode. So I am a huge fan of meditation. I have been meditating for several years right now. There are a whole bunch of different kinds of meditation. And for me, I've really grown the most by using the meditations by Joe Dispenza. They are a certain flavor of meditation. They're not for everyone. And I did his intensive and progressive course, which teaches you how to meditate in this way, because it is a bit of a learning curve. I think that you probably could get his meditations and it create change for you. However, I do recommend the course if that is something that you can do or you feel called to do. It created the most massive change for Kirk and I by doing it. So any kind of meditation is going to work, and here's why. When we go into meditation, we quiet the monkey mind, the chattering, the constant, all the thoughts that circle and cycle. If you can get yourself to a calm state of nothingness, it is in that nothingness that then you can create a new reality. But we have to be able to get to that place first, and meditation is a habit that takes practice and commitment. The second tool that I have used is visualization, and I actually have a couple free visualization tools. So you can always message me if you want those. I'd be happy to send them your way. Visualization is simply thinking and experiencing an outcome you desire ahead of time. So for example, before we were traveling full time, I would play some music that I knew would create a certain emotional state for me, and I would pull up the visual of what it was that we were going to be doing. Like, I would imagine us, traveling, or maybe waking up and going and walking on the beach and feeling that expansiveness and that freedom. And I would mentally walk myself through this like ideal day that I wanted to create. And I would do it in such explicit detail. And I would just stretch the feelings of it until I felt overwhelming gratitude and love and certainty. And for me, I can do this to such a point that I'm in tears because it's already done. I'm already there. I'm already in that future outcome. And when you can get to that state, what happens is you actually close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's incredible. And that is why I always recommend to my clients that they start building a visualization habit. The third thing is mindset work. And mindset work is simply building that awareness around the kind of thoughts you have, paying attention to the feelings that they create, and then ultimately the outcomes that you experience because of those two, and choosing differently every single day, noticing what your default thoughts and patterns are, and really questioning them, teasing them apart and asking like, is this true for me? Is this 100% true? Is this the reality that I want to experience? And knowing that we actually are very malleable in what we can think and who we can be, but you have to be willing to shift within yourself, coach yourself into new thoughts and new ways of being. And this is something that I teach my clients so that they are empowered to do it on their own and they don't need me to constantly coach them into a new state, but then you become the person who can lead your own mindset shifts. And it's so damn empowering. I cannot tell you how much it has changed my life to have this one tool. With that, an additional one, the fourth one, is your self-talk. This corresponds with mindset work because if you aren't changing the thoughts, you're not going to change the way you speak. Becoming highly aware of the way that you speak to yourself in your own mind and also the way that you speak about yourself to other people. Our words are our wand. If you've ever read the 4 Agreements, you will recognize that, but that's not the first book to actually talk about our words being almost like a form of magic. We can create good or bad via the words that we use. And so what are you saying about yourself on a daily basis? How do you talk to yourself? Is it with love and appreciation, or is it with disgust and beating yourself up? I can tell you, and I bet you can guess which one is going to actually create change. And the way that we know is that, if you're a parent, if you verbally berate your child all the time and you just point out all the things that they do wrong all day, every day, are they going to change from that? Are they going to suddenly be like, you're right, mother or father, yes, I am all of these terrible things and now I am committed to changing? Hell no, nobody changes from feeling bad. And if they do, it is not from the state that is most conducive for lasting, positive change. We change when people see the best in us. Have you ever had a teacher or a mentor who truly saw you and saw what was possible and gave love to you? And maybe they pushed you, right? They called you out when you were playing small, but all of it was from a place of love. We get to do that for ourselves via our self-talk. And that leads so beautifully into my final tool, which is mentorship, and actually getting yourself in the space with someone who can lead and guide you and see the best in you, and also is ahead of you or maybe has the results that you want. And you look at them and you think, wow, okay, they have this thing that I desire, and letting them support you and challenge you and stretch you and grow you. Whether this is a one-to-one setting or this is being part of a group of people that are going to push you to your limits, we are the sum of who we surround ourselves with. That's a whole nother conversation, but paying attention to the quality and the caliber of the people you surround yourself with. And if you are getting most of your advice from people whose lives you wouldn't want, my love, it is time for a change. choose differently, find a mentor, find a program, a group, something that will help you catalyze the change that you want to create. Okay, that is it. I've got to go walk my pup. He is very eager to go outside, and I hope that you have the most incredible day. I hope that you take this to heart. I can tell you that the change is worth it, even if you don't feel ready, even if you have been saying to yourself, it's just not my time, it's not possible. I want to really challenge you and ask yourself right now, why couldn't it be your time? Why not now? What are you willing to do to make it possible? And who is the version of you that makes the change that they desire? What are they willing to do, create, think, feel? Become that person now. Choose differently. I am sending you so much love, and I will see you next time.